here with Marla Brown, correct?
Correct.
The 211 director, and we're going to give you some information I think you'll find very interesting. So sit back, relax, like we are here on this gorgeous day. 211. We knew we were going to be doing this little segment for Buncombe Life, and I started asking around, and we've had this conversation here. What is 211? So think about it. If you're watching, what is 211? Believe it or not, some people said, oh, that's that number you call in an emergency. Well, you could, but that's 911. So they said, oh, well, that's that number you get a phone number with. No, that's 411. This is 211. So, Marla.
Yes.
What's 211?
So 211 is a health and human service referral line. So when you said emergency number,
Right.
it could be for a social service emergency.
Right.
So we have people call us 24/7 and ask us just about any ask under the sun.
And that's the thing I want folks at home to know.
Yes.
You can call 211 for anything.
Yes.
Anything. So, give us a kind of an example of what people call 211 for.
So most of our callers, or our Asheville call center, we handle over 50,000 calls for Western North Carolina a year. Most of those calls are for basic needs, food, utility, housing. But as we're having this conversation with our caller, we're identifying other needs. So maybe somebody needs food because their car's broken and they've just spent money on a car repair bill.
Right.
Or maybe they need rent assistance. That's not something they thought the community provided.
Right.
So we're going to share that information with them as well.
So somebody could call you from anything from I need food, like you just said, or I need a plumber. I don't know who to call.
So in a situation like that, what 211 does is we list nonprofit and governmental numbers. So if it's a for-profit,
Right.
like a plumber, we wouldn't have that information,
Right.
but we could brainstorm and have a conversation with that caller. You know, are you a homeowner? Do you rent? Have you
Right.
contacted your landlord? What kind of plumbing issue? We can brainstorm with the caller
Right.
and see if there's anything we can offer that would be helpful.
Right. So what you said is like people call you with any kind of need. You said somebody answers, so a human person answers the phone.
A highly trained human person.
Highly trained
Human person. So we operate 24/7, and in addition to getting calls for basic needs, sometimes we get crisis calls too.
Right.
Somebody could be in a high state of emotional stress. They could be suicidal. They could be a substance abuser. All of the above, and we have to be trained enough to navigate that conversation and get that person the help they need immediately.
So individuals can call.
Yes.
Granted, we've talked about that. But do like law enforcement personnel and our social workers and other folks, they use 211 too.
We pride ourselves on being a companion piece to all these other social service organizations. Our second biggest user are social service organizations. Everything in our database is specialized.
Yeah.
We're comprehensive, so we got to know a little bit about everything. So that's why we're a great companion piece. So an example I like to give with law enforcement, if they're out on a call, it could be domestic violence call or whatever call they're going to be on, if they've got our 211 information with them, and that's something that they can't fill, they're talking to this person in need and there's a service that they can't provide, they can hand them that 211 call and see what wraparound services we might be able to offer for them.
Yeah. And could actually I was thinking of a domestic violence situation, hand them a 211 card that is easy, because it's not making any kind of statement. It's just like, here, you can call 211, or we can call 211.
They can call 211 for you. And law enforcement has such a strong relationship with Helpmate in this community, which we do as well. So after hours and weekends, we'll help out with Helpmate's calls best we can to connect that person in need with the appropriate staff at Helpmate
Because
through
y'all
law
are
enforcement.
24/7.
Correct.
The benefit of 211, when I am there with the citizen and an emergency just has occurred and it's the worst day of their life, the best thing that can happen for them is to talk to a person that can tell them where to get additional help, where to get the assistance that they need. And having that person on the other end of the phone that cares for them and knows exactly how to help them and get the resources they need just really makes a bad situation as positive as it can be.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, let's say that somebody came to me with a need and said, I know somebody, or I'm having trouble with this. You are a resource I can give them.
That's exactly right.
I don't have to go searching for an answer. I can just say, you need to call 211.
So statistically speaking, when someone has a need, it takes about 7 phone calls for them to get that need met.
Right.
So if you've got someone with 5 needs that are in a high state of emotional distress
Right.
because it's life,
Right.
then they're not going to make 35 phone calls. That's what we're for. Right. So if they can call us, we're going to have a conversation, because again, we have highly trained specialists. They know how to answer the call from the beginning to the end. We're going to build a rapport with that caller and listen to what's happening in their lives. And then from our comprehensive database of over 2,000 resources, we're going to try and find what's going to meet their needs.
And you said highly trained,
Yes.
human, local person,
Yes.
24/7.
Yes.
That's amazing. Are these confidential? Are
Yes.
these calls confidential?
It
also?
is. I mean, if a caller reported that they were going to hurt themselves or someone else, or they're reporting abuse, then we have mandatory reporting.
Right.
But yes, we are a confidential, free service.
Wow. Okay. So
And multilingual.
oh, well, there you go. I wasn't even going to think of that. Multilingual.
Yes.
That is very helpful. So, and this is what I want our folks at home. I know if I were them watching this, I would say, okay, that's great, but who pays for that?
Each county helps to pay for their own service.
Okay.
It could be county funds. We've got some local health coalitions in Western North Carolina that helps to fund this for their county.
So it is funded. So there's no fee.
No,
for this
there's
call.
no fee for the caller. No, never.
I really want everybody to get though that you don't have to hesitate. Should I call? Is this something I can call for? I just don't know what to do. Then just call.
Sure. So what's going to happen when someone calls is a number of things. Of course, we're going to welcome that person for calling. We're going to thank them. And then we're going to ask how they heard about us and have they used us before.
Right.
So that does 2 things. Asking if they've ever heard us before. Have they called the right number? Do they mean to call to order a pizza and for some reason they got us?
Right.
So it's checking to make sure that you're at the right place. And we're going to explain what we do.
So I ask you, what are some of the most frequent calls you get? What are some of the less frequent? Maybe those calls that people wouldn't have thought they could have called 211.
We do get those calls, because then when I hear our specialists go, I've not been asked that before, and then they become curious too and want to know.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman call. He had a lot of rental property that had the oil tanks underneath the ground,
Yeah.
and he wanted them gone.
Huh.
He wanted to donate the oil. I'm like, that's a really great question. That's not something that's common. So as part of being an accredited center,
Yeah.
we do what's called advocacy, or we do research. We'll follow back up with the caller. In this particular one,
Yeah.
we needed to do that. Not advocacy because it was a high level of stress, but
Right.
advocacy because we didn't know the answer either, but
Right.
we're going to find out. So sure enough, our specialist made a series of phone calls, and we found where he needed to take that. So she
Wow.
called the caller back and shared that information with him.
Yeah. So if you're just stumped about, well, I don't know what to do with this, call 211.
Right.
United Way's 211 goal is to provide you with quick and easy access to information and resources in Buncombe County. By calling 211, you will speak to an actual operator trained to assist you in getting access to the services you need. They can help you with a variety of topics. The list goes on. If you have a question and don't know if a resource is available, call them anyway. They're trained to either get you to the services you need or connect you to those who can. So if you have a question, don't wait. Call United Way's 211 and find the answers you're looking for today.
I think people will be real encouraged to hear that when they call 211, they get a real person, not automated, a real voice, a trained person, and then somebody that I want you to talk a little bit about that can follow up maybe with a need.
Sure. So again, we're an accredited center, and part of that benchmark is that such a percentage of our calls have follow-ups.
Right.
So that means we're talking with an individual, particularly a senior, who may be struggling, as you talked about, with food insecurity or medical transportation, and the conversation is just triggering that highly trained specialist as to, I want to have another conversation with this individual. Right. So we'll get the caller's permission. Is it okay if I call you in a couple of days and just check and see how everything's going? And then we'll call that person back within a certain period of time to check on them. Did they get the services they needed? Is there anything else we can do for them? And just to be that kind voice that somebody cares.
So is 211 just a Buncombe County thing? I know you said you were a lot of counties around here. Is it just a North Carolina thing, just a Buncombe County thing, or is it a nationwide? number?
So 211 is a nationwide number. Here in North Carolina, we're lucky enough to have a statewide system. Our whole state is covered. Anyone in North Carolina has access to 211 through either the call center in Asheville or our sister center in Durham. But 96% of the U.S. is covered with 211. So yes, we've had situations where we've had callers calling for their mom who lives in California, and we can connect them to the 211 that's appropriate for them.
Oh, wow. So you can talk to other 211s
Oh, yes.
and help, like if you have relatives in other states. Oh, that's awesome. So thank you, Marla.
Thank you. I appreciate it.